Hello, Kenai Peninsula Votes. And Alex, thank you very much for this invitation to talk to your group today and to talk to you a little bit about the proposition to repeal the vote by mail hybrid ordinance that was passed by the Assembly this year. I just want to take a little bit of time to talk to you about the process and what happened with the hybrid vote by mail ordinance. This process started before I actually was on the Assembly with the election stakeholders work group as a way to respond to a complaint made under the Americans with Disabilities Act because folks did not have the accessibility that they needed to polling places and the ballot so that they could vote really without encumbrances and just to make sure that everyone has the right to vote and vote in an informed way. It's pretty important that the borough respond in a positive way to that complaint and make sure that those concerns were addressed. The election stakeholders group came up with a few different recommendations to do that. One was this hybrid vote by mail system in which ballots would go out to every eligible voter with a deliverable address in the borough, and then multiple polling places would then be shut down across the borough as well, leaving only 5, 6, or maybe 7 opportunities to vote in person across the borough. So basically in the city clerk's offices is where people would have to go and vote if they wanted to go vote in person, closing down precincts in my community of the Nikiski and Salamadoff precincts. So the process that exists now to vote by mail is actually quite a simple one. You just have to request that the clerk send you a ballot, and then you can vote by mail if you want to right now. But the change really with the hybrid vote by mail ordinance is that ballots will go out to every eligible voter with a deliverable address and then close down those polling places that I just talked about across the borough. Again, communities like Kasilof would be another one that would close down under this proposed system. When we look at costs, the hybrid vote by mail system is actually going to cost more than the solution to purchase the ADA compliant voting machines to go in the precincts that we need right now. So we're actually looking at a higher cost for vote by mail than we would if we would just purchase the Americans with Disabilities Act compliant machines to continue our voting system as it is today. Once again, the vote by mail system that is in place right now via absentee voting is relatively easy to access. You can fill out those applications online and send them in, or just send them in by mail, or turn one into the clerk's office yourself. You don't need a fax machine or any special equipment to do that. And the current system that we have for voting allows people to continue to vote in person in their community on election day, and that's pretty important too. So preserving those traditions and preserving folks' ability to vote on election day is a big reason why I'm urging folks to vote yes to repeal the hybrid vote by mail ordinance on October 6th. As we look at this system and as we look at other ways that we vote in our communities, it is important that we have all people voting and making sure that they're voting in an informed way. One thing that I want people to know about vote by mail is that you don't necessarily have an opportunity to correct the record of the poll book as you are turning in your ballot. One thing that happened just in my house recently is a voter in my home voted by mail in the primary election, and their vote was rejected for some reason. And we weren't immediately told why that happened. But unfortunately, one of our votes did not count in the primary election because it was rejected. Whereas if something like that happened at an in-person polling place, you could actually respond to that right there in the polling place. And if there was still a question, you could vote on a question ballot, and then your vote would still be counted. So I would urge folks to vote yes to repeal the hybrid vote by mail ordinance. You can keep voting by mail if you want via absentee or early voting if you wish. So thank you for this time, and thank you for participating in your local election process. Please vote.